think for me, honestly, what got me involved was when I was like maybe 13 or 14, when I really started growing up a little bit more into like my teenage years. My father was a drag racer, and what he would do is, he'd always be working on his cars. When I was younger, I used to see him work on his race cars, on his drag cars, and same with my mom too. She used to have all these Mustangs. Same with my brother. He would literally have all his friends over, and they would be in the garage working on their cars together. And when I would see that, I was like, man, I really want that. I was always curious on what that lifestyle was like. So after a while, once I started seeing that, I just kind of was born into it, maybe, I guess if you put it that way. More so of seeing it around my family, and also with my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. They all loved any kind of automobiles. So that's kind of where that love developed. And then from that point on, I realized that that was something I wanted to be involved with. That's what made me happy. And most of it was excitement. Seeing these cars, not just exotic cars, but cars in general, learning about it got me excited. What is it like to be around the most expensive cars? It's kind of tough sometimes because you get immune to it. What happens is the first year I started here as a receptionist, it was really fun because it was so unreal to be around these cars every single day. Because what I would do is on the weekends or after school with my roommate, we'd come down here and we'd just walk around the show and be like, dude, this is so nuts. And it was just like once or twice a week. But then once I got a job here, it was every single day. So when I'd come in here in the morning, I'd walk through the door and I'd look at all these cars and be like, is this really my everyday job, like for real? But then after about a year and a half to 2 years, you start to get a little bit used to it. And then once I turned 21 is when I could be on the insurance policy. That's when I started driving the cars, and that's when it was really fun because I was sitting at my desk every day saying like, I want to drive these cars, I want to know what it's like. And then eventually at one point I had the chance to drive one, and that had me even more hooked. And I didn't know I could like cars more than that. And I think that once I got behind the wheel of a car, it really pushed me to the next level of saying like, this is really happening. Because at first I didn't believe it. It was more like, is this a joke? And then after a while I got used to it, and I didn't become immune to it, I just became comfortable with it. And then as the years went on, I step back once in a while and say, yeah, I need to cherish it a little bit more. Because for me, after 4 or 5 years, you drive them every day and it's a normal thing for you. Because when you're around something every single day, you get used to it. But when you're around cars like this, and anything in general, when you step back and look at it from where you were, I realize how far I've come, and now looking back at that, it's like, I enjoy it every single day, but when I step back, I realize a little bit more on how much I actually should cherish it. I'd say, I had a goal maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago to get a Nissan GTR, and it was something that I thought, it represented hard work, dedication, and it was a reward for me because my whole life I always felt as if, I didn't feel deserving because I worked very hard, but I didn't feel like I deserved a lot in life. And at one point last year, I realized, dude, you've been working very hard for 4 or 5 years, and longer than that, on your own. And I've been, full time for 6 years now, and I wanted to treat myself to something, that was very rewarding. So I thought of the Nissan GTR. I fell in love with that car a long time ago, and then what happened was when I moved to California, I was homeless for a little bit with my mom, and that was one of the hardest things I'd ever gone through with somebody else. And my mom was supportive of me the whole time. So literally every single day when I would ask her to go to a car show at 5 a.m., she'd drive me there. If we wanted to come to this dealership, she'd bring me here. And it was something that was like this unconditional love that you can't buy, you can't purchase that anywhere. So my mom did that for so long, my whole life, through the whole time when my dad passed away, when my brother moved out, when I moved out, all these things, she always supported me. So I realized that after all that time, she deserved a lot more than what I felt I deserved. She put a lot of effort into life for my brother and I, and for herself, and I wanted to treat her. So what I did is, I spent the last year trying to sell more cars, because when I first started here, I started as a receptionist. I moved up from receptionist to photographer, from photographer to marketing manager, and I stepped into event coordination and into graphic design, all these different fields that kind of related to what I did. And then at one point, my boss was like, why don't you get your sales license? And I'm like, I don't want to sell cars. Are you kidding me? I don't want to be a salesman. I just was so against this. But I realized with the 30,000 followers I had on Instagram at the time, I thought to myself, you know what, let's just try this. Let's see what we can do. So what I did is I got my sales license and I started posting on my Facebook, hey, I have this car for sale, I have that car for sale. And I put up an Aston Martin, and my friend Ovi reached out to me and he goes, hey, how much is that DBS? And sure enough, 4 days later, he came in and bought the car. And I was like, that's through social media. Like, how did I just do that? And then, dude, that's like, from that point on is when it started. And I started pushing my social media every single day of showing like me as a photographer, not a salesman, but the behind the scenes stuff, showing like, check out this car that I'm shooting, but yeah, it's for sale too. And that's how I pulled in my leads. And sure enough, you know, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years goes by, and I've sold, I don't even know how many cars now. I've sold so many cars just through social media. But then last year, I started to realize how much my mom was doing for me. And it's tough to talk about, but you know, she's going through a hard time right now, and she has been for a while. So what I wanted to do is treat her with how she treated me. So when she was struggling and when I was struggling, she would, no matter what, drive me to car shows, help me get food or money, whatever it was, support me mentally, any of those things. She was always there for me. So what I had done is I actually told her that instead of getting a Nissan GTR, I was going to buy her a car and buy myself a car. So I took the money, split it down the middle, bought 2 cars. So what I had done is I made a goal of selling 5 cars 3 months ago. And I told myself, if I sell 5 cars, I'm going to put enough away for savings. I'm going to restart Devoted Society. I'm going to restart my clothing line, and then I'm going to buy my mom a car. So a few weeks ago, I hit that goal, and I said, you know what? All right, let's make this happen. So I went with her to the bank, and you know, I got her a loan, and I bought her a car. I bought her a certain car, and I don't talk about which car it is or pretty much the specifics behind it. But I told her that, you know, I'm going to treat you to something you deserve. I want to get rid of your car payment for you. So I bought her a car, and then after searching for a long time for my M3, I bought my M3. So that was kind of the motive behind it, and she didn't have much of an idea behind it. So when I bought her the car, it was very emotional, because I'll never forget, like, we live like 10 blocks down the street. And I remember one time we were in an apartment building together, in a studio apartment. It was 300 square feet. I mean, no bigger than, you know, you could barely fit a table in there, maybe a few chairs too. And we had a mattress that we took from a storage unit that we found. And we were sleeping on the floor one time. And I remember, like, we were both sitting there sleeping on a mattress together with nothing, on a tile floor with, like, I had my computer and I had, like, some clothes, same with her. And then from that point until now, to be able to have, like, my dream office, my dream job, and to purchase her a car, I think that for me, that feeling of leaving the bank, paying off her car and buying her a car was more rewarding than buying a GTR for myself. So after all that being said, throughout that whole story, the idea behind my company is to really bring a group of people together who are very devoted and motivated and dedicated towards what they love and what makes them happy. For me, what I have done is when I was younger, I spent a very long time, very late nights, very early mornings going to car shows, learning Photoshop, going on YouTube, looking at tutorials, whatever it was. And to express it in a certain way, it was more of me like really creating a group of people who were just like me, like-minded, who were positive, who were happy, who were passionate, and create this family of people who believed in what they did. And there's so many, or believe in what they do. And there were so many people out there who set this limit on their mind of saying, I can't do this, or that's impossible, or I'm not going to be able to reach that goal. And the idea behind what I want to do is this company, I want people to realize that they are capable of doing that. They don't have to set a limit on what they do. Everything in this world is available to us. It's a matter of us trying to obtain it. And it depends on how hard and how smart you want to work towards getting there. And that was the thing for me, is that when I was 14, when I first came in here, you know, I set a goal of saying, I want a dream office, I want my photos on the wall, I want to work here. And you know, I landed all 3 of those things. And it's because I spent every single day of my life when I was younger working towards that. And I told myself, I'm not going to stop until I reach that goal. And the funny thing is, dude, when I hit that goal, I was like, all right, what's next? What do I do next? So then once I got a job here, I started, you know, a clothing company, and then I started a poster company, and then I invested in different businesses, and I started putting my money towards things that were an asset or something that I believed in. So the idea behind the company is really to create this group of people who come together as a devoted group, a devoted family towards really believing in themselves. And not only that, but you know, once we get 10 people, once we get 100 people, once we get 100,000 people, all those people bring each other together to be uplifting and to help each other. And that's the best thing about it, is going back to sharing this passion with the whole world, is that everyone in this world, like I said, has an opportunity. It's all about creating it. It's all about creating an opportunity for themselves towards working towards what they love and making their future around a passion they love. So overall, the company is just something I started to create this group of people who are really motivated and to help each other out. I think one of the best quotes that I'd ever read in my whole life is that you can't throw stones at every dog that barks at you. And the reason why I say that is because throughout my whole life, with this company, with my job, with my YouTube channel, with everything I've tried to achieve in my life, there's always been one person or 10 people or 100 people who say something negative. And for you to stop and to put your energy towards that person of either getting back at them or even responding to them, it's a waste of your time, because what it's doing is it's slowing you down from doing something that you can be progressing forward to.